Until recently, education for children on the autism spectrum focused on trying to make them fit into traditional systems and structures. Today, however, we are witnessing a profound shift where educational environments are being redesigned to honor neurodiversity. Dr. Das, thank you for welcoming us to your school today. We would like to start by understanding how the teaching methods for students on the autism spectrum differ from our traditional methods and approaches.
The methods are diametrically opposite because traditional approaches and formats are very standardized. So the child will go from nursery to KG, class 10, 12, they are standardized boards, CBSE, off-the-stack curriculum and syllabuses which teachers teach in their classrooms. The teacher-student ratios are also 1:40. The children can absorb those classes through multi-step directions, combining information and acquiring information through several resources because they are neurotypical children. In the case of our autistic children, this faculty is severely fractured, broken at many places. This is the executive function faculty, which involves listening, acquiring information, processing it, taking time to understand it, holding it in your working memory, planning, and then executing in action. Now, since this is fractured because of the neurobiological condition of the brain, approaches which are implemented in autism education have to be a combination of an academic portfolio and a very robust therapeutic portfolio, namely occupational therapy and speech and language therapy. Because what you are trying to set right is through an educational method, a pedagogy, there are no magic pills, there is no invasive surgery which can set this, or some medicine which can set this right. It is only through an educational process, through repetitious practice and perseverative teaching, which is at the heart of our pedagogy, the daily life therapy. A curriculum is customized to the level of the child. So the child can be at different levels. That assessment is done, and accordingly, the educational plan is implemented. A lot of hand-holding happens also with the parent because whatever is taught in school, the mirror image of that has to be created at home.
Dr. Das, you spoke about customization. So we understand that individualization is at the heart of the specialized autism education and care framework. So how do you assess and accommodate these varying capabilities within your educational framework for the ease of the student?
So when a child comes to us, he is assessed on multiple parameters. In fact, it's a very detailed assessment over more than 64 parameters, almost like a detailed project report, like a DPR, because the academic level is seen, the speech ability is seen, the communication ability is seen, the sensory motor profile is seen. Now, as you know, autism is a spectrum. So some children will be able to navigate the school curriculum with relaxations, which the government allows. Some children will be able to prep for a do till a certain amount of grade level and then prep for a vocational education. And there would be some whose severity is high, non-verbal, mutism, and they would have to be prepared for a life skills program so that they can have a healthy daily life rhythm. But even those who are placed severe on the autism spectrum, our focus is that they should have capabilities in 4 or 5 domains, which is basically language comprehension. It's very important because how we understand the world is through words. And language and communication, again, as we know, is a major deficit of autism. So even those who are very severe, this is a very big priority for us, that they should get that capability of comprehension, receptive language. The next is speech and language activities, basically pivoted on conversations. So even if the child is non-verbal, should be able to hold back and forth pragmatic communication either in a written format through gestures, through the digital format, some way of communicating in a conversational mode. The third is grammar composition. And these are again higher order skills as the child progresses. And the fourth is handwriting. Handwriting has a very important spin-off for fine motor ability. And even if some children are not able to acquire that skill, because this is a problem we see many of our children face, that is not very relevant in today's world, because we have the digital QWERTY keyboard, and what we focus on then is that the child should learn how to navigate the QWERTY keyboard so that he acquires that capability of written language. So even if the child is judged very severe, placed very severe on the autism spectrum, it's not an end of the road situation either for the child or for the family, because the child will still gain a substantial amount of learning in terms of communication, in terms of self-care, in terms of work-life balance, in terms of establishing daily healthy life routines, so that he can be settled, growing up, he can be settled in this family and in the society at large. So that would be the program. And those who are in the vocational field, they would be prepped for the diverse vocational fields. In our school, we focus a lot on digital, because Digital India is the vision now. The flavor of the country are three basically: Skill India, Fit India, and Digital India. So this is something which permeates all our departments. So those who can do a grade level and vocational, they are prepped either for digital professions, digital skills, and physical education, fine arts. And those who can do grade level, they are prepared for a college readiness program.
Dr. Das, could you take us through the school environment and tell us about how you have adapted the classrooms and other spaces to adapt to the sensory needs of the students?
See, when the school started, one of the thinking which I went into making of the school was that there's a lot of deficit broadcasting about autism. But we decided that how about making all the deficits work for the children? So what if it all works out? That kind of a mindset is how we approached it. So since there's a lot of neural fragmentation that autistic brain faces, there are huge propensities for anxiety. So one of the things which we were very decided upon is spatial clarity, continuity, and visual assurance. So these principles guided us. So if you see the school, if you walk around the school, and I'm sure you would have done that, so departments they have a start-finish concept, and they're very function-based. So on the one side, you have the academic unit, the academic department, where all the special education classes are held. Then you will have the sports arena, and then you will have the therapeutic field, therapeutic departments, which is occupational therapy, and then speech and language therapy. And usually the practice is that we do not include or jumble up all the subjects together, one at a time. So small parcels, disparate teaching with clear-cut instructions of when to start, what is being taught, presented in simple, plain, clear language, no clutter in presentation, and that is how the classrooms are organized. And also the TLMs, the teaching learning material, is also prepared in an easy to understand, readable, function-based, keyword-based approach method.
Dr. Das, could you please share how speech therapy is conducted here?
Speech and language is the proverbial elephant in the room as far as autism is concerned. So in our school, the clinical diet, which comprises of the occupational therapy and speech therapy, is given daily to the students. They have their everyday sessions. Speech therapy is both delivered through conventional methods, where a detailed oromotor intervention is done. So the child moves from the sound to the word to the phrase to the sentence to conversation level. That is the trajectory they follow. And it's also for the non-verbal children to build the receptive skills. They also put on the alternative and augmentative communication modality, which is a digital device which builds their receptive language, and the receptive also stimulates their phonations, ultimately sound productions, and they get to the word and the phrase level. So both are dovetailed, uniquely customized to each child, and a 45-minute session daily is done of speech therapy of all the students who are studying here.
What role do creative arts and sports play in the overall education of students on the autism spectrum?
We introduce a lot of creativity from a very early stage, right from the Montessori to the FLN level and going on onwards. Because our children, they are always thinking in pictures, they are visual learners. So unless you present the information visually to them, it is very difficult for them to grasp it. Focus is on concept learning. Focus is not just on learning what is there in the textbook, but utilizing in the real world situation. And that is also what National Education Policy says. Physical education, again, is a very important part of our daily life therapy method, because whatever a child gets therapeutically in the occupational therapy, the foregrounding of that happens in the sports field. So if the child is getting robust muscle development plans in the occupational therapy, how you use that foray is made on the sports field. And sports is also a wonderful way of developing group education, social communication, something which our children struggle with, team spirit. And we also have a very robust curriculum on yoga, integrated approach to yoga therapy. So 40% of children on the spectrum have a co-occurring medical condition of epilepsy or some other comorbidity. So we have to be very mindful. So the yoga asanas, which include hyperventilation, they are omitted.
Dr. Das, we touched upon the importance of nutrition. Could you elaborate on the significance that this holds in the overall education and care for children on the spectrum?
Nutrition and healthy eating is a very important factor in the overall scheme of autism education and care. Many of our children report metabolic conditions. Many of them report gluten sensitivity and are on a GFCF diet, which is a gluten-free, casein-free diet. So we are very mindful of those conditions when we plan the menus of the children studying in our school. So there is a customized diet plan which is given for them, which is breakfast and lunch. Healthy eating is also so very important because you can build on so much of vocabulary in the daily course of life, and also inculcate table manners. Now, one of the major issues in social exclusion is not having appropriate table manners. Many of our children struggle with that, proper eating, because there are feeding disorders reported. There's a limited diet, or there's a meltdown at the dining table. So that further compounds the problem of social exclusion. We take a great perseverative care in teaching children these drills of dining very well and expanding the range of their meals.
Dr. Das, your school recognizes the importance of the children knowing India and its traditions. How is this actually brought about in practice, and could you throw some light on the importance that this holds for them going ahead?
So the minute you enter the school, you can feel that the school has Bharat in its soul. The energy circuits are all Bharatiya. So the day begins with the assembly, and we have the peace mantra, the universal peace mantra, Sarveshvam Swastir Bhavatu, recited in Sanskrit by the children on the autism spectrum and the faculty, and that's how our day begins. All the festivals in the country, from Diwali to Christmas, from Ekadashi to Ramadan, all of these are represented in the school ethics. So the entire scape of India, the cultural template of India is very well represented in our school. The culinary diversity that is there in our country, that is also exposed, because that is the menu diversification takes care of that, and the children are taught that. We have, since our children are visual learners, we do a lot of knowledge of India quizzes. So it could be on different themes, state capitals, food, landmarks, dress code, and all of that. So it's a very engaging way in which we build the knowledge of India traditions in our children.
What guidance do you offer to families, and how important is it to maintain continuity between the environments at home and at school?
See, it is a continuum. The school and the home is a continuum, and that only produces the results. So digitally, every day a report is sent to the parent, a daily report of what all the child has done in the school, and a mirror image, and the parent is expected to create a mirror image of that at home. So if we have introduced a certain structure for the child, and if we are implementing certain disciplines in terms of reduction of screen time, in terms of self-care, in terms of study schedules, It's just not some homework which is goes there and you follow that and you do the homework and you send it back to the school. It doesn't operate that way. It is a complete life cycle management. So whatever is being done with the child in the 6-7 hours and a robust structure of disciplined life, both work as well as self-care is being established in the child, that should be taken up in the residence. Then you have parent-teacher meetings. Parents can come up, and also when they seek appointments and they want to speak to particular therapists or department heads, they are most welcome. It's an open door policy. They can come in. In fact, we've had parents calling us up on many things, from toileting to sleep issues to healthcare issues. And we've always given them the wherewithal of advice and the contact persons in case of medical emergencies, wherever it is required, whenever it is required. We are always there for them. So their hand-holding is complete and comprehensive.
How do you prepare students for transitions to higher education or further on to employment? And are there any support systems in place for these very critical phases?
One of the harrowing thoughts which most goes through every parent's mind is what will happen to the child after the school age is over, which can be in the case of our autism population, 21 years. Because school is just not a place you go to learn, it is also a social experience. Same for the workspace. It's just not a place where you go and earn a remuneration and make a living, but also a large part of your social life. Unfortunately, in our country till now, the participation of the neurodiverse population is pitifully nominal. That is something which is a sphere of action, both on the part of the industry and the government. Recently, we had the Google leadership team visiting us, and we had a discussion, and the conversation was basically on opening up spaces, on opening up certifications, because many of our children go certification-less also. So someone may not be able to do a school leaving exam, but would be very good in certifying for a digital course. So we were having this conversation that can we have these certification programs, and then could you have some spaces where you could employ them, because they are very good. They may mix the big picture tasks because of weak central coherence, but they are very good with assembly line work. So they could be a very vital workforce addition to the back end work, and they are very good with repetitive tasks and very high order precision. Right now our entire focus is on skilling them in a way that they get maximum number of certifications, whether it is the grade level certifications or the tech certifications, so that they can be ready with a job coach. Workplaces also would have to make several adjustments, because even if it is a high functioning autistic individual, he would still require some level, high levels of mentoring at times, and definitely some level of mentoring at all times, because of this fractured faculty of executive functioning. You could also have the possibility of micro enterprises being set up, because many of our children, they are very good artists. They're very good with fine arts, because again it's a visual medium and a lot of tactile input. So touch and visual, these are the two senses which really drives them. And we also run a cohort of digital artists. It's a digital platform, and it's a cohort of autistic artists. What is of importance is after the school leaving certifications are done, after the capacity building and skill development is done, the go-to-market strategy is something for the autistic community which has to be worked upon.
Dr. Das, what challenges do neurodiverse individuals face when interacting with the wider community, and how can we as members of this community help them to tide over these?
I think a lot of one thing which India needs to do with what Martin Luther King said, the fierce urgency of now, is create friendly spaces for autistic individuals, because the prevalence has gone so high now. Now everyone knows someone with a special needs child. So our municipal spaces need to be very friendly. Our cinema theatres need to be like in early this month when we had the World Autism Day, there was a theatre property in Gurgaon which created this space for autistic children where they could go and enjoy the movie or theatre. Otherwise, it's very difficult for them to go out and have that kind. What is something which is very regular and usual for other people. So that also becomes a very big outing for them. Or going to a mall, because it's an overstimulated environment, the lighting, people, smells, So in the West, what they have a quiet hour. So they have these adjustments, they make these adjustments. So, and if awareness cannot be only about deficit broadcasting, awareness has to be about capacity building. So the community has to be accepting of this condition. Terminologies have to change. The practice has to go through an evolution. Families have to get rid of this shame and stigma, hiding, denial, all these psychological weights that they carry, that they have to get rid of, because it's a state of being, it's a condition, it's not a disease.
Like hospitalization for an autistic individual is hugely challenging. So I would urge, in fact, this is something which the government should do. There should be a fast track for children. Healthcare, medical checks is something which is very, very distressing for the autistic individual and the family, because you have waiting lines, whether it is OPD or emergency hospitalization. Family is harassed, waiting for the admission. So there has to be, whether it is a private hospital, whether it is a government hospital, there has to be a fast track for admissions when autistic individuals go for some kind of a medical treatment. Could create autism-friendly spaces in terms of parks, in terms of popularization, in terms of quiet zones and markets.
We need to shift the arc from treatment to talking about autism, from suffering to skill building.
At Higashi, our clinical services department focuses on bridging the gap between therapy and classroom readiness so that our students are able to access learning in a more structured and meaningful way. We are a team of 6 occupational therapists and 6 speech and language therapists, making it the biggest bench strength available in this field. In our occupational therapy sessions, we address challenges related to sensory processing difficulties, which are the biggest barrier in our students' learning trajectory. This includes activities like swinging, weighted exercises, and working on different textures, giving them vestibular input, proprioceptive input, and tactile input. This helps our students stay regulated in the entire daily routine.
खेलकूद हमारे ऑटिस्टिक बच्चों के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी होता है। उनके इमोशन रेगुलेशन को जो सबसे ज़रूरी होता है कि बच्चों का खाना पीना, उठना बैठना, सोना, उसके लिए स्पोर्ट्स बहुत ज़रूरी होता है। उनका एनर्जी बहुत चैनलाइज हो जाता है। और जो भी बच्चों का फिजिकल फिटनेस बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, क्योंकि विदाउट फिजिकल फिटनेस हमारे बच्चे बहुत ही ज़्यादा हाइपर एक्टिव होते हैं, बिहेवियर्स होते हैं, तो उसको चैनलाइज करने के लिए खेलकूद ज़रूरी होता है। जब एक टीम में आप खेलते हैं तो आपको एनी हाउ आफ्टर 1 मंथ 2 मंथ बच्चे बात करना सीख जाते हैं, एक दूसरे से पेयर ग्रुपिंग करने लगते हैं। यहाँ पर हमारे स्कूल में 2 बच्चे हैं जो कि मैराथन में पार्टिसिपेट कर चुके हैं, वेदांता मैराथन। दे रन 10 किलोमीटर एंड नेक्स्ट ईयर मेरा टारगेट है कम से कम 10 बच्चे जाएँ वहाँ पर रनिंग करें। एंड वी आर ट्रेन देम फॉर पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन ऑल द स्पेशल ओलंपिक गेम्स।
एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशन सिस्टम में लाने के लिए हिगाशी ऑटिज़म स्कूल का जो एक इन्वायरमेंट है वो बहुत ही डाइवर्स और इंक्लूसिव एकेडमिक इन्वायरमेंट तैयार किया गया है, जो मॉन्टेसरी करिकुलम देता है, FLN करिकुलम देता है और NIOS का करिकुलम देता है। साथ ही जो हमारे बच्चे इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको हम IB करिकुलम प्रोवाइड करते हैं। साथ ही हिगाशी ऑटिज़म स्कूल में एकेडमिक डिपार्टमेंट में वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग डेली रिपोर्ट्स, IEPs, क्वार्टर एंड एनुअल गोल्स। आइए एक ऐसे भारत की कल्पना करें, एक ऐसे भविष्य की कल्पना करें जहां हर बच्चा हर ऊंचाइयों को हासिल कर सके।
The Higashi Autism School shows how autism care and education is being reimagined in India with academic learning, clinical support, and life skills development all intertwining seamlessly. Today, we understand that autism is not a disorder to be treated, but rather simply a different way of experiencing and interacting with the world. For these children, education is not about learning. Rather, it is about who they become and how they chart their own unique pathways of possibility among a spectrum of potential.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा YouTube चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।